Hi, my name is Courtney and I'm with womenlivingwell.org, and exactly 1 year ago I made a 5-part series on YouTube about homeschooling, and I talked about why we chose homeschool and what are some of the benefits, some of the challenges, and what curriculum we were using. Well, now it's a year later and it's time for an update. There has been one major change in our homeschooling that I want to share with you, and that is our curriculum. For the first 2 years of homeschooling, we used the Ohio Virtual Academy, which is an online public schooling at home curriculum. And so basically every day my children logged onto the computer, and right there was their assignments for the day. They had a teacher that we would talk to about once every 6 weeks on the phone, and I really enjoyed doing school at home with them, and I was happy with the curriculum. We really were happy doing everything we did, but through a combination of events, I ended up unenrolling them from the Ohio Virtual Academy simply because I met another woman who's the director. Well, I didn't meet her. We already knew each other. But she was the director of the Classical Conversations, that class that is local. And she showed me the things that her children were learning, and I fell in love with this new curriculum. So this year we've been doing something different, and I want to share with you each thing we've been doing. The first thing we've changed to is we are using Saxon Math. And this year my son did Saxon Math 2 and has started, he's halfway through 3. So he loves math and it's going really well. We will continue on next year with Saxon Math. For our phonics, reading, grammar, and handwriting, we've been using the Rod and Staff. And it has worked great for my son, but for my daughter, it hasn't gone real smoothly. It's been very challenging for her, and it's all in workbooks like this, and it's just very black and white, and it just doesn't really fit for her. So next year we will be making a change, and I'll talk about that at the end of this video. But for now, that's what we use this year. Very happy with it for my son, and just so-so for my daughter. The other huge change was adding in this class called Classical Conversations. And what it is there is a group that meets locally of homeschoolers every Tuesday from 9 to 1. And my children get to go and be with other homeschool kids from 9 to noon in a classroom setting with a tutor who teaches the class. And I attend the class too, and I sit in the back of the room and I watch and I learn alongside of them. And then at noon they get to do a recess, and then at 12:30 they get to eat lunch with their friends. So this has been really fun socially for the kids, but not just socially. Academically, it's been outstanding and extremely enriching for my children. So I want to share with you just a little bit about this thing called Classical Conversations, because they are meeting all across America. If you want to find a local group in your area, just go to classicalconversations.com, and they didn't pay me to say this. This is just my own thoughts on it. I love it, and it's just been really great. So what we do when we get there is every week they go over history, Latin, English, science, math, geography, and then they usually do a science experiment and an art. And so I just want to show you a little bit of what my children learned this year. For example, every single week they memorized a history sentence in class, and then we went home and during the week we would continue to go over it. So this was last week's history sentence, the preamble of the Constitution. So they memorized the preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility, provide for common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, and it goes on. The kids learn hand motions and songs and all kinds of things to help it stick in their brains, and then we review it week after week. So this has been, they've been doing American history this year, and it's been really, really good. Another thing they do every week is they do art and they do music, and so they learn to play a little tin whistle. So they got introduced to how to play an instrument and how to read measures of music and things. So this is just one piece. This is just like a sample of some of the work they did. Every single week they do a science experiment. So this is my son's worksheet, and they learned how to make a hypothesis and work through doing a science experiment, which I love because I'm not big on doing experiments at home and getting all those things together. So it was nice to know that every Tuesday that was covered for me, and I didn't have to worry about it at home on the other days. Another thing they did this year was they memorized all the capitals and all the states and all the rivers and all the landmarks and stuff. So lots of geography. Every single week we continue to add more and more geography. And they memorized those, and we had fun songs. Something else they were introduced to, this is, I think, well, I don't know, so it's different, but they basically, in science, they memorized the first 12 elements of the periodic table, which was quite a challenge for a first and second grader to be learning about lithium and beryllium. But yet I like that it was introduced to them at a young age where they're starting to put their world together, and they're not using it yet, but at least they've heard those words and begun to think about those things. Another thing we did every week was Latin. And they've been memorizing Latin vocabulary every single week, and then here at the end of the year translating John 1 verses 1 through 7. So week 20 they did Fuit homo missus a Deo. There was a man sent from God, and it's talking about John. And so my children got to learn some Latin. And they listened to classical music, so they would sit in class and this song was 7 minutes long, and they would follow along with their fingers and listen for the clarinets and listen for the French horn or the guitars, and it just taught them to sit and listen to that music together. My children were in a class together. It was kindergartners through second grade mixed in my kids' class. Next year they will be separated, but it's been nice this year for me to be able to sit in and be with them both. They also did art, so they got to do painting one week where they put cement little polka dots and painted and then peeled them off and made it look like snow. So that was a fun activity. Another form of art they did this year was we memorized a lot of anatomy, like their respiratory system and the digestive system, and we did memory work every week learning about anatomy, and then they made this huge skeleton together with the kids. So that was fun to do. And the last thing that they did every week was every single week they had to come with a 2-minute presentation ready to stand up in front of their class and speak for 2 minutes. This is such a great skill for my children to get to learn. And at the beginning of the year, they would stand up there super nervous, and Lexi required for me to come stand next to her as she got used to learning how to look at people and talk and not get too nervous. But by the end of the year, they got up there and they did great. So it's just been really great to watch their growth. And so this is my son's written out. He did poison ivy. Recently he did a little presentation on poison ivy. So anyways, that's what we've been doing. They've been going, they've been learning, they've been challenged. We have loved it. But I do want to say that I know that this is not for everyone. It was very challenging, and there's no cookie cutter approach to homeschooling. And so we love this, and this works for us, and we are enrolled to go in next year. But I know it's not for everyone, and I just want to encourage you moms and encourage you homeschoolers that you can do it. There are so many great things out there. And like we learned this year that Rod and Staff wasn't for us. I mean, we did it this year. But we're looking for something else. And so I've heard all about reading and all about spelling. I've heard good things, so we're probably going to order that. And I've been looking at Veritas Press's catalog, and I've gotten very excited about some of their reading books and comprehension guides and things. So we're going to be looking into doing that next year. So that's what we're doing here, and I hope that something there interests you, encourages you. Keep pressing on and loving on your children and walking with the King.